Hello and welcome back to another video on this series on learning Python for beginners. So we are continuing off from where we left off in the previous video. In the previous video we looked at what variables are, how to define variables, and the basic structure of a variable, and how we can print variables. In this video we'll be going through the definition of the assignment operator, or the equal sign, of what it means in the Python programming language and what it means in regular old mathematics. So if you haven't already, I encourage you to watch this whole series in order. Let's get right into it. To keep in mind is that in mathematics, the way, like in mathematics, let's say we have a variable x equals y. Yeah, I guess this will work perfectly in our example. So let's say the difference, I just want to clear one thing before we move on, to going into naming conventions and so on and so forth about variables. And just one thing I want to clarify is the differentiation of how this equal sign works in comparison to mathematics and with like Python. So this right here, this equal sign right here, we call it the assignment operator. So the assignment operator basically assigns the value on the right hand side. So whatever is on the right hand side, it puts it inside this variable on the left hand side. So in mathematics, let's say, so this would be mathematics. So let me just scroll down a bit. So let's say we have this defined in mathematics. Okay, so if this is 6, let's just give it another example. Okay, so now let's look into this. So let's say, so this is our regular Python example. So this would be our mathematical example. So say in mathematics, we define a variable y, which is equal to x. Now in mathematics, the way this would work is that whatever y is, the same goes for x. So x is literally equal to y. And whatever x is, y is equal to that value. So in this case, if y would be 6, so let's say y is 6, then x would also be 6. Y, initially it is 6. But in Python, the way that we would do it, so like in Python, this assignment operator, this equal sign has a different meaning or has a different function. So in mathematics, so think of it like this. So divide this into 3 parts, this being the left hand side, this being the right hand side, and this being the balance in between. If we have a equal sign, both sides are balanced. So whatever the value is so whatever the value of y is, so let's say the value of y is 108, the value of x would be the same, so 108. That function of this equal sign in mathematics. But if we were to come back to our Python example, so in Python, this is a bit different from the equal sign. This is the assignment operator. So what it does, it assigns the value on the right hand side to the left hand side. It's instead of, so like in mathematics, it's not declaring that these both sides are equal. It's just taking what's on the right hand side and putting in what's in the left hand side. So let's take this for example. So we'll go here. So if I say y is equal to x, so this way, y would equal 5 and x would still be 5. But if we were to go down here and then change the value of, let's say, y to 7, so in this case, if so let's start let's begin from the start. So x equals 5, y equals 4. Let's remove these two print statements. So now what we're saying is that y should equal the value of x, which is 5. So right now, as of right now, y equals 5. So y equals 5 and x equals 5 too. So here we're changing the value of x. So, or the value of y. So right now, as of right now, the y is equal to 7, and this is a really key thing to remember, x still equals 5. So the point I'm trying to make is that the assignment operator puts the value from the right hand side to the left hand side. So in our case, y equals x, which is x is equal to 5, so y is also equal to 5 right now. But then we're changing the value of 5 we're changing the value of y from a 5 to a 7. In this case, right now, if we were to print y would equal, so let's print y here, and let's print y here. So in the first example, y would be 5. In the second example, y would be 7. Okay, so as we see in our console. But if we were to set the value of y to 7, the value of x wouldn't change because we haven't changed the value of x. So this is the thing this is the point, or this is where I'm trying to get at, is that if this were a mathematical, yes, a mathematical statement, y would equal x, would like literally equal x. So whatever y is, it would be x. So if this were to be mathematics, if y is 5, x is 5. If y is 7, as we've changed it here, x would also be 7. But it's not the case in Python, or yeah, in programming languages at least. This equal sign serves as an assignment operator in Python. So whatever is on the right hand side gets switched to the, or gets stored in the variable on the left hand side. So in this case, we have y, which equals x, x is equal to 5. So y also equals 5. And then we're changing the value of y to a 7. So instead of like being the value of x, we're changing it to a 7. So right now, y equals 7 and x equals 5. If this were a mathematical statement, these two would be the same, regardless of whatever like the value, or whenever the value we change, whenever we change the value. So regardless of that, it would be the same in mathematics. So if this was 7, like, so let me just remove this. So let's say this is a mathematical statement. So y equals x. If y is 7, then x is also equal to 7. But in Python, we're changing the value of y. We're not declaring that it's equal to, or x is equal to y. We're just saying that whatever is on the right-hand side, put it inside the variable on the left-hand side. So in Python, this would still be 5. X would still be 5. It wouldn't change. So that's it for this video. I hoped I have made a bit of sense on assignment operators and what variables are and how to declare like simple variables. In the next video, we'll look at the naming convention, and I'll dive deeper into like what I just covered in this video. So if you haven't like quite understood what this all means, I'll explain it in more clarity, in more detail in the next video. So for now, I'll end this video here, and if you haven't already, I encourage you to watch the series in order. And if you haven't, subscribe and turn on that notification bell. Like if you've enjoyed this video, or if you see anyone would benefit from this, please share this video, leave a comment if you have any suggestions or if you have any feedback, and I'll see you in the next video where we cover the naming conventions and we look at variables at a deeper level. Then I'll see you then.